Now there's one more layer here and one more thing that makes a very big difference between these two products that I think is worth mentioning. And that is sort of the integrations and the automations. So inside of Asana, you have kind of your workflows tab. And I'll talk about AI in just a moment. I think neither of these products are ready for the AI that they're using, but basically you have rules in here, which are kind of like automations. You can create new rules. You can associate them with a particular space or project. And then you can use a template or kind of, start from scratch to create a rule to run inside of Asana. This is great. This gets the job done. It probably will cover most of what you want to do, at least for smaller teams or teams that have very simple use cases. You want some field updates. It'll get the job done. This is where Jira really starts to shine though, because the automations inside of Jira, and they rename them to flows, are far more robust. And they also work not only on a project level or on a space level, they also work on a global level. So you could do a ton of automation between spaces and projects, but also from outside of Jira. You could pull in webhooks, HTTP requests. You have a lot of integrations that you can create that are already available natively and keep expanding as time goes on. And even the app makers, which we'll touch on in a moment, have the ability to bring in functionality into this automations tab. So let's say, for example, I'm going to run a work item created trigger. We'll go next, and then we could add an action. This is when something happens, and we could literally do anything in Jira. You could update a field, you could transition a work item, any field, anything you would do manually, there's an automation for it. Like literally anything, which is really, really cool. Now, the even cooler part starts when you have these integrations. So we have AWS, there's some Workday stuff down lower. This is Azure DevOps, there's Datadog, there's Docker, there's DocuSign, there's GitLab, there's Google Workspace. There's a ton of out-of-box stuff that you can just immediately start using. Okta, Oracle, New Relic, Slack. You don't have to do anything. And even some of the app makers here, as you can see, like creating checklist items or resolving checklist items, are starting to add theirs. Zendesk is in here. This is all available out of box. You don't need a plugin. You don't need an integration. You literally just click it and it works. You could send a Slack message to a channel. You could create a new person inside of Google Workspace. And this is where automations really start to shine in Jira, because let's say you're creating an onboarding flow and you spin up like a checklist to create accounts for an onboarding employee and you automate the whole thing. You can then create users in like Azure or create users in Google and not need to do it manually. And you could even send web requests and do things with advanced automations with other platforms and tools that allow you to pretty much automate the whole process away of doing an onboarding, which is something I've done quite a bit in Jira. And that is where we see the big departure from Asana into Jira, the integrations and automations layer. Real quick, I've implemented Jira for over 200 companies. By far, the number one reason teams reach out to us is because they built what they thought was a great solution, only to realize that nobody actually ended up using it. And if that sounds familiar, that's exactly what we help you fix. And if you want help implementing Jira in a way that your team will actually use, hit the first link in the description below.